Have you ever tried helping a toddler only to hear them say, "No, I do it"? Whether it's putting on their own shoes, feeding themselves, or climbing into the car without help, toddlers have one goal: independence. According to Erik Erikson, these everyday moments are much more than stubborn behavior. They're the foundation of confidence and self-control for the rest of life. Today, we're breaking down Erikson's second psychosocial stage: autonomy versus shame and doubt. By the end of this video, you'll understand why toddlers are constantly testing their independence, what happens when that independence is encouraged or discouraged, and how this stage shapes confidence well into adulthood. Autonomy versus shame and doubt occurs between 18 months and about 3 years of age, overlapping with Freud's anal stage. Unlike infancy, where babies depend entirely on others, toddlers are beginning to realize something exciting. I can do things on my own. They can walk, explore, feed themselves, make choices, and of course, say one of their favorite words: no. And while that can be frustrating for parents, it's actually an important sign of healthy development. At this stage, children are trying to answer one simple question: am I capable? Every time they try to zip a jacket, pour juice into a cup, or climb onto a chair by themselves, they're testing their abilities. They don't just want the task completed. They want to prove they can do it themselves. That's autonomy. One of the classic examples you'll see associated with this stage is toilet training. Learning to control bowel and bladder function is one of the first major opportunities for children to exercise control over their own bodies. When caregivers are patient, encouraging, and supportive, children begin developing confidence in their abilities. They learn that making mistakes is part of learning. But imagine the opposite. Suppose a child is constantly criticized. They're told they're too slow, too messy, too clumsy, or they're punished every time they make a mistake. Instead of building confidence, they may begin questioning themselves. Maybe I can't do this. This is what Erikson described as shame and doubt. Rather than believing in their abilities, children become hesitant, fearful of failure, and overly dependent on others. Now, just like the first stage, Erikson wasn't suggesting that parents need to be perfect. Setting limits is still important. Toddlers need guidance, structure, and safety. The goal isn't giving children unlimited freedom. It's giving them safe opportunities to practice independence while knowing someone is there to support them. When this conflict is resolved successfully, the child develops the virtue of will. Will is the confidence to make decisions, take initiative, and keep trying even when something is difficult. It's the belief that I can do hard things. That confidence becomes the foundation for independence later in childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. If this stage isn't resolved successfully, Erikson believed people may struggle with self-doubt, low confidence, and an excessive fear of making mistakes. For board exams, unresolved autonomy versus shame and doubt is commonly associated with compulsiveness or impulsivity, depending on how children respond to overly controlling or inconsistent environments. Again, these are associations, not direct causes, but they're classic exam pearls worth remembering. Here's an easy way to remember this stage. Picture a toddler trying to put on their shoes. It might take 5 minutes. They might put them on the wrong feet. They might get frustrated, but they don't want you to do it for them. They're asking one simple question: can I do it myself? When caregivers encourage those attempts, even imperfect ones, autonomy grows. When children are constantly criticized, shamed, or prevented from trying, shame and doubt begin to take root. So let's quickly summarize. Autonomy versus shame and doubt occurs between 18 months and about 3 years of age. During this stage, toddlers begin exploring independence and learning to trust their own abilities. Supportive guidance helps develop autonomy and the virtue of will. Harsh criticism, excessive control, or constant shaming can lead to shame and doubt, making children less confident and more hesitant to act independently. Ultimately, this stage teaches one of life's most important lessons: I can do this. In our next video, We'll move into the preschool years as children begin asking a different question. What happens if I take the lead? We'll explore initiative versus guilt and discover how curiosity, imagination, and goal-directed behavior begin to shape personality. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.